Hi everybody, I am Colin McIsaac. I'm reviewing Splatoon for Gamnesia. We asked you guys to send in your questions, and here we are. So I'm going to be answering your questions about the game. I've had it for quite some time now, so I've had a ton of chances to experience it, and I got to apologize, by the way, for the low production value of this video. I was planning something much more professional looking, but then between my computer had some issues, and so I lost some progress, and some plans had to change around. So I had to scale back this video quite a bit. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, you'll just have to bear with me. Um, but let's jump right into it. So Yo Mero asks first off if this is a must buy, and I think this is a great question to start us off. My answer would be yes. I have been having so much fun with Splatoon. It's really amazing me how much I'm enjoying it and how much more I'm enjoying it than so many other new games this generation, and especially original new games, because it's not often that you see a new IP from Nintendo, and when it happens, it is amazing, and Splatoon is amazing. I've really been just having so much fun with Splatoon. It reminds me kind of why I love video games. It's really been fantastic. So yeah, I would say it's a must buy. Now that obviously depends on the person. If you're not really looking forward to putting down $60, because I know there are 5 stages, which to some is not a lot, and it really depends on the kind of game you're looking for. But I would definitely say that it is worth it. Lou Smith asks, how customizable is your character's look? Is it just hats and shirts, or is it more than that? So you have 4 gear options to customize. You've got your shoes, shirts, headgear, so not just hats, but like glasses, helmets, those kinds of things, headbands, and your gun, which I know that changes more gameplay than like the look of your character, but it does still affect the look of your character. So those are the main things that you have to customize. You can also change your character's skin tone and eye color, and choose between a boy and a girl. Um, Kyle Kowalowitz, I'm so sorry if I pronounce that, and I'm sorry to anyone if I pronounce your names wrong here. But Kyle asks if we see anything about the hair customization. I'm really hoping to see that since the boys seem not to have much to make them look better. No, unfortunately, there is no hair customization. What you can do is, different kinds of hats and helmets and headbands and things will make your hair look a little different or hide your hair. So there is that if you really want it. Merkiotos asks, likewise, if there's no hair customization, can you buy wigs? And I haven't seen any wigs, and I've been playing the game for about a week now, probably I think a little more. And since I haven't seen wigs yet, I would guess that there are no wigs in the game, but it's possible that there are a few. The gear that you can buy cycles out once a day, so even still, I've only had 7 or so different opportunities to see different sets of gear. They don't just give you a whole inventory and let you buy whatever you can afford. Paper Gauntlet asks, can you switch between a boy and a girl whenever, or are you bound to one or the other forever? And you can switch whenever. You can do it just by, same as switching your gear, I think. I'd have to double check that, but yeah, it's very easy. Thirul asks, how many clothes are in total? Like I said, you can't get like the whole inventory at once, so I don't know. I've only seen, I've given the number of repeated clothes I've seen, I would say that so far I've seen probably 30 different equipment or pieces of gear for each type, like between like for each hats and shirts and shoes. And then weapons unlock a little differently, so that's a little different. Ninja Peace asks, is there online split-screen multiplayer like Mario Kart, and are there Wiimote controls? There is no online split-screen multiplayer. There's only single-player online. I know that team matchmaking is coming in August. I don't know if that means that you'll be able to do 2 people from one console online. I know you can do a local multiplayer battle dojo where one person plays on the gamepad screen and one person plays on the TV, and that's a blast. But because you can do that, I would imagine that they're working on doing local multiplayer and taking that taking both people to the online mode. As for Wiimote controls, no, there are no Wiimote controls. You have the option of the gamepad. I think it's just the gamepad. I've tried using Classic Controller. I don't have a Pro myself, but I've tried using Classic Controller in other modes, and it doesn't seem to be possible. Granted, I really like the gamepad, so I haven't been trying that hard to use the Classic Controller, so there may be a setting which I haven't discovered. But you can use the Classic Controller in the Battle Dojo, which is the local multiplayer. You can use the Classic Controller, the Pro Controller, and the Classic Pro Controller. Thirul asks, can you be Team White? Very funny. No. Simon asks, can you be single player played with the Pro Controller? I don't believe so. I sort of just got into this. Like I said, I don't have a Pro Controller myself. I don't think that you can, but I'm not sure. I can't be positive because I just don't have one. Brent Slade asks, can you change the basic controls like jumping, etc.? I hate X for jump. No, you can't change the basic controls. There are no customization options. That said, I do think the controls have been really, really, really well optimized for the gamepad. You're mostly going to be using the two buttons that you're going to be using, face buttons that is, are going to be Y and X, and you're going to be using the right analog stick a lot on the gamepad. And so those are the two closest buttons to the analog stick. It's very comfortable. Then you're largely using the shoulder buttons, ZL, ZR, and then R for your sub-weapons, and you click the right stick. So R3, they call it on PlayStation. I don't know if Nintendo has an official name for it. But R3 is using your special weapon once you've charged that up. It's really comfortable. I love it. And then with the Pro Controller and Classic Controller, you can only do twin stick. With gamepad, you have the option of doing twin stick or gyro controls. And I found the gyro controls to be insanely helpful because I'm not very good at shooters. And it's mostly because of twin stick. I just can't do that. But gyro makes aiming so smooth. It takes a while to get used to using it in conjunction with the right twin stick, the right analog stick, but it's well worth it. I have gotten really used to it, and it's awesome. I've never done better in shooters. Sporeboy asks, did you get the amiibo? No, I didn't get the amiibo, unfortunately, so I haven't been able to check out the amiibo challenges. There are, I believe, 20 per each amiibo that they've released for Splatoon, which means that there are about 60 in total, so that is a significant amount of the game that I have not been able to check out for review. What I'm ultimately going to end up doing, I think, is probably, once I get the amiibo, updating the Splatoon review, talking about the amiibo functionality, doing a sort of review in progress the way IGN does it, until the amiibo are publicly released. I have them on pre-order. I was lucky to get them on pre-order, but no, Nintendo didn't send us any for review, so I have missed out on that. And that's very unfortunate. It also raises a lot of questions about Nintendo locking their content behind amiibo in the future, especially if they're going to have these shortages. Not great. Randy Thompson asks, is there any way to see what teammates are choosing for weapon loadout? For better weapon loadout. Sorry. Are choosing for weapon loadout for better strategy. Going in with a team that decided to go all rollers never bodes well. No, you can't actually, and that is one of the issues with Splatoon. There are a few really minor issues that do have larger ramifications, and that amaze me that the developers never thought to address. You can't do that. You can't change what weapon you're using while you're waiting in the lobby. So if you're waiting in the lobby and you want to change your weapon, and this is especially an issue, I like to switch around my weapons sometimes. So it's especially an issue for people who like to switch up their variety and their gameplay styles. But if you want to use a different weapon, you either have to wait for the lobby to time you out for no one signing in, you have to wait for 8 people to come in and then play a game and then say, no, I don't want to battle, or you have to reset your Wii U. So it takes a long time, it's very frustrating, it's a bad process. I'm sure they're going to patch that in August because that's such a poor oversight. But at least for now, no, there's not. I haven't found it to be too much of a problem, quite honestly, in terms of weapon loadout for better strategy. Because what they do is they pool all 8 players in a lobby, and then they assign the teams at random. So it's not often that you have a team of all rollers. I don't even think I've ever seen a team with 3 rollers, let alone 4. The Pink Bunny asks, "Oh, sorry, I'm gonna disorganize some of these. I'm gonna try to get them in the right order." Gabriel Hool asks, "When you choose your weapons, are you stuck with a combination, or can you choose your sub and special weapons independently?" So what you do, you go to the weapons shop, you choose them, you get the main weapon, and that comes paired with a sub and a special weapon. So as you unlock more weapons later on, you'll get things like custom splatter shots, where really the main difference is either the aesthetic or the sub and special weapons that it's paired with. So eventually, it's very likely that you will find the perfect combination, but you can't customize that combination. You have to play the game a lot and find it in the weapons shop. Kechi Morosato asks, "What is your favorite weapon overall so far, your favorite weapon type overall, and your favorite weapon within each weapon type?" I don't play the different weapons within each weapon type to know what my favorite one within each weapon type is, but my favorite weapon type is definitely the splatter shot, the main splatter shot. I think every different weapon type is fantastic because they offer completely different strategies, and the game is really, really well balanced to accommodate those strategies. Each map has a perfect number of locations for each of these weapon types to go to and maximize their ink covering game mostly. But I think it's really well balanced, and I think every weapon type has an extremely well balanced number of pros and cons, both in terms of the strategy, like the matchups from one weapon to another, as well as on the maps themselves. So that's fantastic. But my personal favorite, just the way my playstyle works, is the splatter shot. And within the splatter shot, I really like the Aerospray MG, I think it's called. It might be RG. It's like a golden painted gun. It's really shiny. And then it has an Ink Mine sub weapon and an Ink Blast special weapon, where you touch the gamepad screen and you can fire this big blast of ink anywhere on the map. So I really love that. Crouching Squid asks, "Does the roller really seem that OP with all the other weapons, or is it easily countered like Little Mac?" So sort of like I said, each weapon I think is really, really well balanced. So no, it's not OP. It is OP if you don't know how to go against it, but I mean that's kind of the way that competitive games work. That's how the metagame evolves. It is easily countered like Little Mac if you know what you're doing. Just keep your distance from the roller and get them, and they're completely defenseless. What they can do is dive back into the ink and swim around and hide and trick you. But you're gonna be meeting players of all different sorts of skill levels. Some people are gonna know how to go up against rollers. Some people are gonna have no idea. Some people who are playing as rollers are gonna know how to go up against other weapon types that can trump rollers. Some people who are playing as rollers are gonna have no idea. So it's I think it is really well balanced. Pan Nan asks, "Is Andre too OP?" And I can only assume you're talking about Andre from Game Explain, who I've been playing a lot during this this review period. I mean, he's pretty good, yeah. He usually beats me by about 100 points. I have beaten him on several occasions, but that said, though, I do usually get over 1,000 points, and it's usually only 1 or 2 people per game get over 1,000 points. So I would probably consider myself in the higher tier of Splatoon players, at least in the review period. I'm sure as the metagame evolves, that's my ability is going to go way down, but at least for now, I mean, yeah. And he also asks, "Has Judd the Cat given you any money when you've talked to him?" I actually don't talk to Judd the Cat very often. When I have, he's usually given the same advice. So I don't know if he gives you any money ever. It's possible. I just don't know. All right, now, sorry for the disorganization there. Now we can go back to the next category of questions before we wrap up. So the Pink Bunny asks, "How is the single player? Most of the preview stuff from Nintendo has only shown the early levels, so does it get more challenging later on?" So the single player mode after World 3 is under embargo, so I can only talk about the stuff up through World 3. So what I'm saying only applies to that and does not apply to the later levels. So the single player is really fantastic. Um, or let me correct myself. It's not that it doesn't apply to the later levels. It's just that don't consider what I'm saying to apply to the later levels because I can't talk about those. Anyway, so how is the single and what I say may change if I'm talking specifically about the later levels. I hate disclaimers like that, but you got to do them anyway. How is the single player? Most preview stuff from Nintendo has only shown early levels, so it does get more challenging. It up through World 3, it's not very challenging, but I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's mostly about teaching the mechanics, so it's kind of a really robust tutorial system. I've got to say, I was really impressed by the single player mode. I was not expecting it to be as rich as it was, nor as fun as it was. It was really, really fantastically fun, and they did a fantastic job pacing it so as to teach you the mechanics of the game to prepare you for the online battle modes, which I thought was just really fantastic. They made a tutorial system for a competitive online multiplayer game. Um, they took that and they wrapped it up as a campaign instead of as a tutorial and made it just such a blast to play. Love it. So I would definitely recommend playing single player. Um, And does the single player story actually have any depth? Are there any unlockables other than clothes? This is by Link or Zelda. So again, I can't talk about after World 3, but up through World 3, no, the story doesn't have any depth. But I mean, what do you expect? It's a gameplay game. It's not really a story-oriented game. I mean, there is a plot, but it's not really. It's just there to drive to drive the player through the challenges. It's not actually there to be anything meaningful. Um, but there are a couple things that I think you will be impressed by. Not sure if I can talk about them, so I won't say any more than that. Um, and Papa Chips asks, is single player or does it have any difficulty settings to choose from? And no, single player, as far as I know, is just the one difficulty, um, and there hasn't been any clear way to change the difficulty of it, so I'm assuming that that's a no. Sorry for the splice in here. I realized I missed one of the questions. Someone asked if the content in Splatoon ever feels lacking, and I mean the answer is probably I would say yes. That's not to say that the game itself is lacking, because the core mechanic is fantastic. The stages that they have is fantastic, but that is to say they only have 5 stages for the online mode, which to some people may be an issue. I personally think I would rather have their 5 best stages than 8 okay stages. Because each stage has really been expertly crafted. I'm always finding new things in those stages, especially with each different strategy to use. But to some people that will be an issue. And there's also it's a little strange to me that the Battle Dojo mode only has one mode of play, that ranked battles only have one mode of play, and that the regular battles online only have one mode of play. So you can't do different gameplay modes without doing different multiplayer experiences, if that makes sense. That is a little weird as well. And then again, so I didn't get the amiibo mode, so that's 60 levels that I'm missing out on. So to me, it probably feels a little bit more lacking than it would to someone who has the amiibo. But then again, a lot of people aren't going to have the amiibo, so it's really a matter of taste. I personally think that it's a fine amount of content, but I can completely understand if anyone would disagree, because for most games this generation, 5 stages really is not that many, and there aren't a whole slew of modes. I think it's a great game and great core mechanic, but yeah, if content is the amount of content is a really big concern for you, then I would probably say that it is a little bit lacking. But the quality of the content is what matters to me, and the quality of the content is insanely high. So to me, I don't have an issue with it. Anyway, sorry for the splice in. Forgot that I missed that question. Back to the main video. So that is the end of the questions, guys. Thank you for asking them. I hope that even in this, underprepared state, that this video has addressed what you were looking for, addressed your concerns, your hopes. So yeah, again, to wrap it up, I would definitely remind you guys. I think this is a must-buy game. It is really, really fantastic. I have been having almost too much fun with it. Anyway, thanks guys for listening, and you can find our Splatoon review on May 27th at 9 a.m. CST, so 10 a.m. EST, and 7 a.m. PST. So you can find it on May 27th. That's this Wednesday. And if you are watching this on Sunday, like as it's coming out, then be sure to tune into our live stream of Splatoon. That's happening tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Gonna be live streaming Splatoon for an hour. May play the single player. Who knows? Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So tune into that, and then after Splatoon, I'm gonna be playing Banjo-Kazooie. So should be good. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.